Okay, moving right along. Um, we have Teresa Savage with C Monterey, and Teresa has a great perspective on another of the very important industries, certainly for the Monterey Bay Area, but I would imagine for the entire Central Coast, all the way down to Ventura, which is hospitality. So, Teresa, floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Josh. Um, Tonight, I'm going to cover on the next slide, um, next slide, uh, who we are, C Monterey, what we represent, a tourism organization, and the importance of tourism economy to our community, the 2024 travel outlook, and how we position ourselves for success in the future. First, starting with our vision and mission, our organization went through a 5-year strategic planning in the spring of last year, and we redid and re-envisioned our vision and mission statements. Vision is a thriving tourism economy that enriches Monterey County's economic vitality and quality of life. And our mission is to generate the community prosperity for Monterey County through responsible promotion and growth in the tourism economy. So how do we do that? So we're primarily a sales and marketing organization. We're charged with growing awareness in the leisure, group, and international tourism visitation segments. In the marketing communications team, last year, they influenced over 300 overnight visitors, and that represented 712 million in visitor spending. And our direct sales efforts represent booked groups. So the business team focuses on meeting planners and trying to get those larger groups into the destination. That was impacted 42 million for last year, and with 169 groups. And the importance of a tourism economy in our destination. On the next slide, we first start with our visitors. So it's really important for us to understand who comes to Monterey County. We do a visitor profile study every few years. We're in the process of doing one right now, the first one post-COVID. And these are some preliminary numbers from that study. 59% of the guests coming to the destination are here on vacation. They stay a matter of 2.9 nights, and their average trip spending is about 2,000. And who are they? They're married, they have children, and they are most come from the high household income bracket. And so all that rolls up into the tourism economy for our industry in the Monterey County. That represents 3.1 billion in revenues generated for the economy here. Obviously, that 25,000 in employment, and then represents a total of 307 million in city and county tax revenue. So the hotels, the guests, when they stay here, they pay a tourism improvement or tourism occupancy tax, and that goes into the city and county budgets. They also spend money at restaurants and other activities, and that's where that over 300 million comes into play. That TOT fund goes to fund parks and libraries, emergency services. So the tourism economy is very important to the residents in the community because it really helps elevate their living environment. An outlook for the leisure, group, and international segments. Moving to the next slide, we utilize U.S. travel, tourism economics, and Smith Travel Research to really hone in on what's going on in the tourism industry. Currently, right now, the U.S. hotel forecasts 2024 to be 3% higher in demand and 3.1 higher in average daily rate. for a year-over-year increase in RevPAR. RevPAR means revenue per available room. That increases to 4.6%. Although in 2023, the ADR is much higher, 17% higher than 2019, with the adjustments for inflation. As we all know, gas and food and everything is much higher right now. With that adjustments, it's actually realized as a 2% lower. There's a lot of noise in the travel space that ADR, or the average daily rate that guests spend, is much higher than pre-COVID, but that all correlates into the additional cost of operating hotels and tourism businesses. So on the next slide, we talked about the group. So we look at American Express Travel and US Travel and North Star Media, who are all experts in the group space. And while the group is doing strong and it's growing, it's still 20% below the same period in 2019. And group rates, I think, even higher than the transient. The group rates are up 30%. And this is globally, but also in Monterey County. And we're projecting 2024 to be strong. Lots of the hotels are talking about having a lot more group on the books for right now going into 2024 than they have the last couple of years. And some even say they're back to 2019 levels. So it's going to be a good year. The group really balances out the total economy in the Monterey area. And on the next slide, we'll talk about the international side. So California has seen about 72% recovery in the international occupancy. Mexico and Canada are the top, preceding, followed by China. With the airlift increasing this year, and then also with the new expansion of the visa interview authority, with the government has just put into play for low risk applicants. This is a really major step in reducing the visa wait times. So we're hoping to see a big push in the international segment in 2024. Full recovery for international is projected for 2026. And how do we position ourselves for success? So I believe Rob, my CEO, was here last year. He talked all about how our funding works. We get a portion of that tourism, the TOT, the tourism occupancy tax, but we also, 2/3 of our budget is the tourism improvement district. This is an assessment that the hotels assess on themselves that goes into our coffers to promote tourism. So in essence, tourism pays for tourism, and it's really helped grow our budget. We're going from 7.5 million to 11 million. With that, we were really able to grow in our marketing efforts and our sales efforts to get in front of those high value tourists so that more come to our destination. Of course, not quite done there. The partnering with the Monterey Airport, there are some talks about a Chicago direct flight and re-engaging that Portland. So we're staying really close to and helping the airport hone in on getting those flights brought back. And then our inventory. So we have just over 11,000 rooms in our county. There's projected to be 2,000 more by 2026. A large one would be the Grand Hyatt project that's looking at Seaside, already broke ground. So we're looking at that, as well as the ATC in Pacific Grove. Carmel Beach Hotel is already opened. And so with more product, we'll also grow more of an audience and more tourists in the future. in the last slide here, of course, all of our efforts are based on a strategy, and we stay close to travel trends in travel. Like a blended travel, for instance, would be a visitor that was in market for a group event that extends their stay for a personal stay, a leisure stay. So, with that being a trend, we really want to hone in on that. And, because we have a lot of group hotels here, how do we entice those travelers that are looking to blend their travel? Looking at AI adoption in the travel industry and what that means for our future. And then travel motivators, that's what motivates people to travel in our destination, the outdoors, as well as food and wine. Those are motivators. So we really hone in and create strategies and activations around what travelers are looking for to really up level our exposures and grow our tourism effectively. And that is all of my presentation. And I think
Man,
there's a
so much
question
there.
that came in.
Yes, a lot there. And I think the note about the distinction between the transient occupancy tax and the TID, the Tourism
Improvement District.
Improvement District,
Yes.
is good. And I was able to join your launch of this new branding last fall, and the team there at C Monterey is doing a lot of great work to make this all happen, as well as work on the question of sustainable tourism, right? And
Mhm.
finding the good best fit for.
Yes, exactly. And
So,
there is a question that Mary Jo put in the chat on increasing Airbnb and VRBO activities impacting tourism. That's a touchy subject for Monterey and Monterey tourism. There's a lot of Airbnbs or VRBOs that are not necessarily official or legal. It's not something that pays into a TOT or the TID at this point. So we keep an eye on it, but they're not part of our revenue, if you would. So we kind of stay at a peripheral view with that. So we don't delve into that as much with our organization.
great. Well, thank you for answering that, for the presentation, making the time. Really informative again, Teresa. Thank you. And we'll just keep the wheels turning here.